Born in San Francisco, California on May 31, 1930, Clint Eastwood Jr. had no plans to become an actor. In 1953, the man's handsome and rugged looks played a key role in fetching him a contract from Universal. He did small parts until 1958, when he got his big break with the American Western TV series Rawhide. During the 60s, in an attempt to make the move from TV to films, Eastwood traveled to Italy to be a part of spaghetti westerns. He played the role of Man with No Name, a role that had been turned down by several Western stars, in Sergio Leone's 1960s trilogy series, which included A Fistful of Dollars in 1964, For a Few Dollars More 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly 1966. These films played a key role in establishing Clint Eastwood as an international star. During the 70s, Clint Eastwood accepted the role of Harry Callahan in Dirty Harry, which not only led to several sequels and spin-offs, but further cemented Eastwood's position as a mega movie star. In the years that followed, Eastwood achieved fame and success by conquering different genres and directing Academy Award-winning films, such as Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby. In this video, we tell you 15 Clint Eastwood facts to blow your mind. For instance, do you know why Clint Eastwood decided to call his production company Malpaso Productions? Or why he turned down some of the most iconic roles in the history of cinema? In this video, we'll answer those questions. So, sit back and enjoy. He was drafted into the U.S. Army during the Korean War, but was never part of the combat. Clint Eastwood worked several odd jobs before becoming an actor. After graduating from high school, he first worked as a firefighter in Oregon, then moved to Texas to work as a steelworker. He also worked as a lifeguard and gold caddy. In 1951, he decided to go back to studying and was planning to enroll at Seattle University. However, he was drafted instead into the U.S. Army and sent to Fort Ord in California for training. Clint was never a part of the combat and instead worked as a swimming instructor during the day and a bouncer at night. He survived an emergency plane landing during his Army days. In 1951, Eastwood had gone to Seattle on a weekend leave. While coming back to Fort Ord, the actor decided to hitch on a Douglas A-D, a torpedo bomber that was used during World War II. During an interview years later, he recalled this trip as being one of the scariest experiences of his life. As soon as the bomber took off, the radio and oxygen went out, and they soon found out they had run out of fuel too. The bomber made an emergency landing at Point Reyes, California, which is known to be a white shark breeding ground. Clint, however, survived the whole accident. Clint Eastwood wrote to Billy Wilder to convince the director to give him the role of Charles Lindbergh. Eastwood got his big break in 1958. However, by 1953, he knew he wanted to be an actor. So in 54, he wrote to the popular director and screenwriter Billy Wilder, who was often considered one of the most versatile filmmakers of all time. Eastwood thanked the director for finding the time to meet him and requested the director let him audition for the role of Charles Lindbergh. Unfortunately, Billy Wilder decided to go with Jimmy Stewart. His contract with Universal lasted until 1959. In 1953, Eastwood was hired by Universal as a contract player, an agreement that lasted until 1959, when he was fired for a few different reasons. So what were they? To start with, according to Universal, Eastwood had a chipped tooth that he refused to take care of, and he talked too slow for an actor. The funniest reason they gave, however, was that Eastwood's Adam's apple protruded out a little too much. Along with Eastwood, Universal also fired Burt Reynolds the same year. The reason? According to the studio, Reynolds couldn't act. Clint Eastwood took home $15,000 as fees for A Fistful of Dollars. The role that made Clint an international star was the role of Joe, or the man with no name, in Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dollars. And Clint Eastwood has James Coburn and Charles Bronson to thank for the opportunity. The role had first gone to Coburn, who demanded $25,000 to star. Charles Bronson, on the other hand, thought the film was one of the worst scripts he had ever read. Eastwood loved the script and decided to do the film for $15,000. Clint Eastwood went against his agent when he decided to accept the lead role in A Fistful of Dollars, a decision that proved life-changing. The actor is known to follow his gut and heart, which is why it's not surprising he's also turned down many incredible popular roles during his career. We'll give you more details on this in a minute. Meanwhile, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. He wore the same poncho in all films of the Dollars trilogy. Many of us will remember Clint Eastwood as the man with the poncho and a cigar-smoking icon. So here's a mind-blowing fact about the poncho that played a crucial role in making him such a huge star. He wore the same poncho in all 3 movies of the Dollars trilogy and never washed it once. An interviewer once asked him why he never washed the poncho, and the answer was simple. If he did, the poncho may have fallen apart. Eastwood still has the accessory with him. There's a reason why Eastwood named his production company Malpaso Productions. Clint Eastwood's production company is called Malpaso Productions, and there are two reasons why he gave the company this name. First, when Eastwood was approached for the role of the man with no name, his agent told him the trilogy was a, quote, bad step. Bad step, translated into Spanish, is Malpaso. Second, Eastwood lives in California by Malpaso Creek, and hence the name Malpaso Productions. Eastwood has Sinatra to thank for the role of Harry Callahan. Harry Callahan is another one of Clint's most memorable roles. Not many people know that the role was first offered to Robert Mitchum and Steve McQueen before finally going to Frank Sinatra. However, one day out of the blue, Don Siegel called Eastwood and asked him to play Harry. When Eastwood asked what happened to Sinatra, Don shared that Sinatra had a problem with his hand and therefore couldn't hold a gun. The 1973 Academy Awards were awkward for both Eastwood and Charlton Heston. During the 1973 Academy Awards, Charlton Heston was supposed to do the opening segment. However, on his way to the ceremony, Heston got a flat tire and was late. The organizers asked Clint Eastwood to fill in for him. The situation got pretty weird pretty soon, as the entire script was filled with Heston references. Thankfully, Heston arrived before the end of the segment and took over from a very awkward Eastwood. He did all his action scenes in the Eiger sanction. Clint knew from the very beginning he would eventually want to be the man behind the camera. He made his directorial debut with Misty for Me in 1971, and then in 1975, he directed the action thriller film The Eiger Sanction, a film about a history professor and former assassin who's blackmailed into coming out of retirement to do one final task. Clint starred in the film. For a particular sequence, he and some of the crew members were first taken to an elevation of 12,000 feet and then lowered down using tether lines. All the stunts you see in the film were quite dangerous to perform, and Eastwood could have gone with a stunt double, but he chose to do all his scenes on his own. Also, while directing, Eastwood does not do second takes. With Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby, Eastwood has proven he's as brilliant a director as he is an actor. However, not many people know that when Eastwood directs a film, he doesn't like doing second takes. Similarly, he doesn't say action or cut. He simply says, let's move on, because according to Eastwood, the sound of action makes many actors nervous. He was his town's mayor between 1986 and 1988. Eastwood has made Carmel by the Sea in California his home. During the early 80s, he had proposed a plan for a small building, which the local administration rejected. He felt disrespected by the administration's decision and therefore decided to run for office. He ran for mayor in 1986 and won by defeating the incumbent candidate by a significant margin. During his term, he did several amazing things, the most important being repealing the law that prohibited people from eating ice cream on the streets. Until 2002, he was the proud owner of the largest hardwood tree in America. Eastwood is the proud owner of a blue gum eucalyptus that had the distinction of being the largest hardwood tree in America. However, in 2002, the title was taken away from Eastwood's tree and given to another blue gum eucalyptus. Transcendental meditation has helped him calm down over the years. During a 1975 episode of The Merv Griffin Show, Eastwood revealed he had practiced transcendental meditation. Many years later, in 2013, while talking to GQ, the actor confessed that he meditates twice a day and has been doing so over the last 40 years. According to the actor, the habit has helped him calm down in life and become more accommodating of other people's beliefs. He's turned down many iconic roles. In 1969, Sean Connery left the 007 franchise and the role of James Bond was offered to Clint. Not just the role of James Bond, but Warner Brothers also asked him to play Superman. However, he declined both roles. Why? Simply because he didn't think he was fit for the part. In 1979, he also turned down Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now because he didn't want to spend 16 weeks in the Philippines. We hope you enjoyed listening to these mind-blowing facts about one of the biggest stars of Hollywood. Is there anything you'd like to add to the list? If so, leave a comment. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest videos.